Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we'll do our commodity technical analysis update. I'll give you my financial opinion and we'll jump right into the charts, starting with the dollar. So I've got the DXY relative strength indicator for the most part here. We were slightly lower today. Still, to me, looks like we want to go higher. We've got stronger buying pressure than selling pressure on the right-hand side here, which means that we could do a double top or something like that. Eventually for the dollar. TNX is continuing to strengthen. This is the 10-year yield. This to me still looks like it wants to go higher. We've got much larger buying pressure with these 2 days, and we've only got two small pullback days, even though today was an up day. The momentum was slightly lower today. I do think that this will work its way higher over time with the 10-year yield. Higher yields, lower dollar is a good spot for commodities. That usually means that you're in an inflationary environment, bonds are selling off, and the weakening dollar is a tailwind for commodity and precious metals investments. So commodities were up today with those type of tailwinds. We've broken the downtrend line. We're headed higher today, almost 1% higher. And we'll see if the buyers can continue the pressure to the upside. Gold slightly higher today. We're right at that $1,800 an ounce mark. There's a little bit of support resistance that we have to break through. It's resistance coming back through it to the upside. Still looks good to go higher. Silver getting a little bit of selling pressure. We call this the bloody nose, where that could be a continuation pattern to the upside. Platinum also getting that bloody nose. It's slightly more even in the buying and selling pressure in platinum versus the other ones. But if the entire commodity and precious metals complex moves higher, I think platinum will move up with it. Looking at SILJ and ETF, again, we've got a little bit of a selling pressure day to day. I still think the buyers are in control, even if we have a small pullback in the short term, where we will eventually work our way higher. Broken down trend, support underneath it, still looks good. GDX, broken down trend. This one's a little bit lower, but we do have support in this general vicinity right below it. Lots of trading happening in these general sections where we've got nice, good support underneath it. More or less, this is a good spot to be looking for an entry point, in my opinion. Looking at crude oil, basically a flat day. You could call this a bloody nose today, which is a continuation pattern to the upside. We've been grinding on this support line. The support line is this guy coming down here, and we're hitting it here recently. So that is crude oil. Still looks all right. Could this turn over? It is a possibility as we have stronger selling pressure than buying pressure before it. Sometimes those do tend to leak a little bit lower. So I see positive and negative in the short term for crude oil. Natural gas has been swapping back and forth between buyers and sellers. We've got a nice big bullish engulfing here, 3 small pullbacks. That makes me think that we're going to try to work our way higher here, but there's still some selling pressure out there. XOP, yeah, you know me. I still see that in the mining or in the exploration companies too. Stronger selling pressure here, weaker buying pressure, which makes me think this could roll over into a spot down here, which would be a really nice spot buying spot. So I still think this could go down in the short term. It's possible here. Looking at this pattern of these candlesticks right there, stronger selling pressure, less buying pressure. Usually it rolls over, comes down to some spot where there's some support. Scrolling on down for energy services, it's got the same type of setup. Stronger selling pressure. This buying pressure was not that great. So we could come back, retest that support line, and then try again. So that's energy service companies, OIH. Looking at uranium, a little bit more selling pressure today. We've still broken the downtrend line. We're getting a little bit more selling pressure today. We have to see what the buyers and sellers do next trading session. Uranium in the same case. A little bit more selling pressure here. We could pull back in the short term a little bit before heading higher. So that's what a bearish engulfing here. We had a little bit more selling pressure, not necessarily a bearish engulfing here, but we could move sideways or slightly lower for a couple of trading sessions before resuming upward. Looking at Camco also getting a little bit more selling pressure. Doesn't look bad though. Nice big bullish engulfing. This will resolve itself higher, but we had a little bit more selling pressure the past 2 days. Looking at TAN continues its move higher. We've got a bullish piercing that usually resolves itself higher from a candlestick perspective. And I think we will work our way higher. We've broken this downtrend line on a nice big break. So I do think that the momentum is upward. COPX, this is Global Copper ETF. We've got a little bit of selling pressure today. We could bounce around here for a little bit longer before heading higher. So that's what I see in the short term for copper ETF. Coming on down, looking at the rare earth metals, we continue to move higher, a little bit more selling pressure today. It's just a down day, nothing more than that. And then we have another down day in lithium, global lithium battery ETF. We've broken the downtrend. The momentum's still higher. It's just a down day today for momentum-wise. We were still slightly up, but it was just a down momentum day. Scrolling down, look at the S&P 500. Small down day today in the S&P 500. And it's just a regular down day. There's nothing here to say that we're going lower yet. It very well could blow out to the downside, then we would know. But it's just a normal down day today. Same with the US Composite Index. Downtrend broken. We're in an uptrend. Normal downtrend day or down day today in that uptrend move. EEM, we are still broken out above this pattern. Still looks good to go higher on the short term. We had a down day today, that's fine, but it still looks good to go higher. XHB is getting a little bit more selling pressure. Is this going to break out below this support level and start heading lower? It's a possibility. And XHB is looking a little bit weaker here. But it still looks good from a monthly perspective. On a weekly, it's looking a little bit weaker, that we could maybe pull back a little bit further. Lumber still looking quite solid here, up 6% today. There it is, bouncing off that support level. Looking at cocoa futures, breaking out of its downtrend line. That looks good to move higher. That is cocoa futures right here. We've got wheat futures right at support. And we're finding support here. I think that will eventually work its way higher. That's looking a little bit better. Soybeans is working its way higher. That still looks good to move a little bit further upward. And corn, it was up today. A little bit of momentum stoppage today. Kind of opened up, but came back down. So momentum is sideways there. And then copper just moving sideways. We could pull back a little bit before heading higher in copper. Palladium, looks like palladium, okay, that's not palladium. That was a global price index of all commodities. That's definitely way up there for January 2022. Coming on down, looking at Mu. Mu is still looking like it wants to go higher. We've got good buying pressure up days, sideways movement on those down days. Not much selling pressure, good buying pressure, still looks good to move on higher. Coming to aluminum. Aluminum had an up day today, 1.8%. I think this is trying to put in a bottom here. So we could see this move on up for aluminum. That looks really good. Support's underneath us. Everything looks A-okay. And then looking at the Baltic Dry Index, we had a flat day today. It was a small little flat day. We're right at that long-term support level, just underneath it. And we'll see if we can pop back up above it. But that's what I've seen in the overall commodity complex. And we're at support. We're breaking support for a lot of commodities. I still am viewing this as a positive and that we're going to turn and go higher. I would say the most important one is oil. What is oil going to do? If we're going to break that long-term uptrend line, then I think we're going to go lower and the CRB index will go lower. If we stay above it like we are and move on higher, I think that the commodity complex will move on up. This is all very short term. I think medium to long term, we're going higher irrespective. But in the short term, with the SPR releases and all this malarkey that's happening there, we could pullback in the short term into the fall. So that is a possibility. If you guys like the analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website below. Platinum membership in the description link if you want more information and how I'm playing this and the companies that I'm in. We also have a question and answer session Saturday, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time if you want to participate and ask questions directly to me. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.